What's up, everyone? Dave Bush here, Kansas Sports HQ, episode number 3. Today, we take a deep dive into Sean Cutler.
Whoa, phrasing. Whoa.
Hey. We just want to get to know you, fella, and so does everybody else. So, welcome to the show, Sheldon Howell, Sean Cutler, and I guess myself.
Yep.
There we go. There we go.
Executive producer.
Hey.
Producer Dave wearing the hat.
So, fellas, let's begin here. How's the morning going?
Pretty good. Just woke up, so.
How many times did you snooze your alarm before you came in today?
Probably 5, 6. I don't know.
9-minute intervals?
Yeah. It
Must
really
be nice
gets you.
not to have a human alarm come into your room every morning. You guys are both living the dream.
Well, Tim's dog does like to come in. He tried coming in this morning, but I was already awake, and I said, "No, get out of here." And he turned around and then went back to sleep. But yeah, he likes to wake me up about usually 45 minutes before I want to wake up, and then I snooze the alarm even more. So.
Just bring him in a little closer, and just
no, because he always sits with his butt turned towards my face.
Oh, no.
I don't want to get pink eye.
Oh yeah,
so I can turn away from him.
Can you get dog pink eye?
Oh yeah, dogs are primarily the people
really?
that I call them people, but the animal that gives it, because they'll lay on your pillow and they don't control like when they toot and all that good stuff. So
Interesting.
yeah, pink eye would be a terrible thing.
Doggy pink eye.
He just gets up on the bed, turns his butt towards me, sits down, so I have to turn back away the other way.
What about you, Sheldon? How's your morning?
Good, man. Took kids to school this morning, so that was fun. They were being a little whiny this morning, but it was just whining, but just normal morning, nothing too out of the ordinary there. So it was good. I got to listen to some kid songs and, the typical playlist to get us hyped up before school. But it was good. Banks likes to be in the front of the line. He's like me when I go to pick the kids up. He wants to be in the front, so you don't have to sit around. Got him out. It was a little chilly this morning. Actually felt really good. But so sitting out there, hanging out with all the moms, just listening to the mom gossip in the school line, which is fun. And then came here and dealt with a bunch of paperwork so far this morning, but getting stuff done for the leagues. I'm getting ahead of the game, but all is good.
Nice. So today's episode is going to feature Sean Cutler and Sheldon.
DJ Cuddy Cuts.
You have the questions prepared. I'll chime in here and there, but I'm going to sit back and watch this one and work on our camera angles. Episode 3, working out all the kinks and playing the game of what looks best and how we can do everything that needs to be done to really highlight the people that we bring in and obviously the people we talk about. So
nice.
All right. Well,
yeah. Well, just kind of, continuing on the journey of talking about us for a little bit, which is fun. Sean's been around the organizations for what? We're going on 2 full years, basically in between year 2 and year 3.
Yeah, so it's been 2.5.
So just a little intro or backstory for Sean. He obviously will tell a little bit of his story and get into it, but been around the organization for a couple of years, so we're super excited to have him involved with all of the different moving parts of this, and now kind of on this new venture as well too, which I think is a lot of fun. But let's backtrack even before that. Let's tell the people the origin story of who you are, how you ended up in Wichita, Kansas, because you are the foreigner at the table from somewhere else. He's converted me into an Iowa fan, so there's a little so we've learned to support each other's teams around here. But yeah, tell us where you're from. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Kind of, what led you in the direction of coming here to Wichita, and then kind of how sports have been impactful, and what your journey kind of entails.
Man, I've been obsessed with sports pretty much for as long as I can remember. I grew up super small town in Iowa, and I mentioned it on the first episode. Part of the challenge if you're from Iowa, and I'm sure people around in Kansas can relate to this and to this one too, but it's just kind of comparing on how small your town is or how small your graduating class is. But Anyways, we lived outside of town, so grew up on a farm. Had some cattle. Uh, my dad farmed a couple different fields around town, and the big old front yard. So we had me and my older brother. We had a basketball hoop, the big old front yard where we'd play wiffle ball, baseball, football, you name it. It was a lot of fun growing up there. Just all the space you could imagine to run around. So we found ourselves doing that a lot. And man, I've been as long as I can remember. Baseball wise, it's been a love of mine. I know my grandpa, he was a big Yankees fan. So then it kind of trickled down from there, and
You showed up with a Yankees hoodie on when we
everybody
showed
else
this,
was
so
wearing the Parisi hoodies, so I went and grabbed mine, so we'd
Oh.
have one of
It
each.
was
Oh.
just a little chilly this morning, and these things do
Yeah.
the trick. I
Yeah,
mean,
well, and I had to, I just wanted to,
Yeah.
be a little uniform, wear the hat.
hey,
too.
Wedding Crashers was on last night. Holy shirts and pants. Well,
Well, I changed my pants
very,
too.
very fitting. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sean
These
is
are
also
warm.
the tallest member of our team. He's like easily 6'4". So he's a big dog, maybe 6'5". I don't know. Let him.
In boots,
Yeah.
for sure.
So playing basketball. How tall are your brothers? Your brothers are
Sure. They're pretty like round average. And my whole family's just average height, mostly like 5'11", 6 foot.
yeah.
That's not average.
What's average?
5'9" is the average male height.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So I'm almost average.
That's a lie from your side of things. But yeah, so they're above average, I guess. But yeah, all my uncles, my brothers, my little brother's kind of tall. He's like, I think he's a little over 6 foot. My dad, uncles, both sides are like 5'10", 5'11", 6 foot, all of them. And then there's just me. Not that I really utilize it all that well, but yeah. So I grew up playing a bunch of different sports. I mean, soccer, wrestling, baseball. Eventually picked up basketball, dropped wrestling because I was terrible at wrestling. A lot better at basketball. I kept growing taller. Everybody I was wrestling kept getting wider.
Uh-huh.
Um, I played football, of course. We didn't play tackle till 7th grade.
Oh,
So I
wow.
played flag football for 4 years or whatever it was, two or three, whatever it was, and then played tackle in 7th grade.
How big was like graduating high school? How big was like your guys's? It's a small town, obviously. Did you combine? Because like here, you have like Andale, Garden Plain, like places like that combine sports.
Yeah.
Small town cities that will take. It's weird how they do it. I don't know all the odds and ends, but I just remember I coached at Andale for a short little bit, and we would bring in the Garden Plain kids to play baseball with us. So like
Mhm.
they were on our baseball team, but they didn't do that for football. Like they had enough or had their own football team. So did they do that?
Yeah, well, there's a lot of consolidated schools.
Okay.
So like Colo Nesco, where I went to. So I'm from Colo,
Mhm.
and then Nesco stands for Northeast Story County. So that's just two small towns north of Colo. So you go up. I lived between Colo and Ziering. So Ziering was another town, and it's about 500 people, 550.
Yeah.
Don't get mad at me, Ziering, if I got it wrong. But Colo is like
This guy's
Colo
gonna
is
get
like
put up on a
yeah, I
poster
know.
back home.
So for the people
Yeah.
listening, how far away is that from Des Moines or maybe Waterloo, Sioux City?
Yeah, so Sioux City.
Omaha.
Sioux City, we'll get into that too. But Colo is right between Ames and Marshalltown. So Ames is where Iowa State is.
Okay.
So it's right between Ames and Marshalltown on Highway 30. Literally, our football field is right off the highway. And then for broader strokes purposes, Des Moines is uh 45, 50 minutes south of Colo.
So you can still go to town.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't, but
Right,
but
right.
yeah, like Ames would be the place everybody goes to like hang out or go do stuff, I guess. Um, and then I have family in Council Bluffs, which of course right next to Omaha. That's where my mom's from. And then my dad was born and raised technically he was born in a small town northeast of Colo, but he grew up in Colo, went to Colo. He was there when it first merged. So like Nesco was its own school. So Ziering, and then there's an even smaller town, McCallsburg, that's part of our school district. McCallsburg's like 300 some people. Once again, don't know if that's a correct, but
Close enough.
yeah. And so they had a school Cole out of school. They merged together when my dad was like a sophomore, I think, or
Yeah.
junior. And then so it's been Colonesco since then. And, we're not very, obviously, with 3 towns, we're still not very big.
What A would you give it? Like, was it 8-man to 1A, 2A?
Yeah, so not 2A at all, not even close. 8 man, and then everything else we were 1A. So in Iowa, you have 1A, 2A, 3A, 4A, and then some girls' sports have 5A. I don't know. I can't remember. My older brother would know because he's sports media in Iowa, Northwest Iowa. So he would know that way better than I would. But I know girls' sports have 5A. I don't know for sure if boys' sports do. I can't remember. But football is kind of weird. It's like it's 8 man A, 1A, 2A, 3A, 4A. So A and 1A are different,
Uh,
I think.
so did you play? So like in high school, like were you basically all 4 years played all three sports, or were you? When did you kind of dial in and focus on baseball? Because obviously I know you went to college for that. Like, what was kind of your trajectory or track behind kind of doing that? Because obviously in a small school like that, they probably want you to play every single thing under the
Yeah.
sun and have you do as much as possible. So they don't have enough bodies. So
Yeah, I played 4 sports,
wow,
freshman through senior years.
6'5", 4 sport athlete, no big deal.
No, it wasn't. It's not that impressive. Trust me. I wasn't even the best. I wasn't even the best baseball player on my own baseball team in high school. Uh, there was probably, I mean, a couple guys better than me. A couple guys who could have been way better than me. Uh, yeah, at small school, it's like if you're athletic enough, or I guess if you're a warm body, they want you playing everything. So, like, I wish I golfed, but I ran track because I did distance and track. So, like, the sports season in Iowa, you go generally. It's fall is football, winter is baseball, wrestling. Or sorry, not baseball. My bad. Basketball, wrestling, and then spring is track and golf. Soccer's mixed in there too. We just didn't have soccer in my school. We had like
Baseball in the spring too, though.
no
Really?
baseball's in the summer.
Really?
Yeah, high school baseball's in the summer in Iowa. I think we're the only state that does that.
Yes.
There might be one more, which is crazy because you think of like Minnesota, North Dakota, they play in the
So
spring.
that's how you were able to play.
Yeah, yeah. So like,
Interesting. I did not know that. I
I
had no
I
idea.
actually learned that from Jake Gall this summer.
Huh.
He was up in Iowa coaching a high
okay.
school team, and he was like, "Yeah, Iowa's weird,"
Yeah,
which
yeah.
I agree.
It is. That's how I grew up knowing it, and I'm just like I'm used to it, and that's how it worked out where I could go play in college and then come back and coach in the summers. I wasn't coaching like a legion or club team. I was coaching my high school team in the summers.
Ah,
So
interesting. Yeah, no, that's new.
yeah,
I've never even heard that before.
yeah.
Or you may have said that, but I didn't put two and two
Yeah,
together.
it's whatever. You don't listen. It's fine. But yeah, so my favorite sport. I love football. I wasn't very good at it, but I love football. Being 8 man's a little different. It's a little bit easier to like learn the playbook, and because I was a quarterback. But like we had a much more of a focus on like running the ball. So more of the times it'd be like the best athlete's going to go at quarterback, and that was our kind of philosophy was try to play good defense. It's hard in 8 man. Field is smaller, but the 80-yard field, 40 yards wide, I think. But it was a fun time. I love like Friday night. Like, there's nothing there. There's almost like nothing like it. But then on the flip side, you have like basketball, and small school basketball is so fun because like the like packed gyms are so loud.
Yeah.
Like, you have 800 people in that gym, or
That's
maybe
like the whole city.
yeah, like or maybe like even like 500
Yeah.
people. Because I bet, I mean, our gym probably seated, I don't know, maybe close to 1,000 if it's jam packed.
Mm-hmm.
And man, when that like you like hit a big shot and the whole crowd's just going nuts on a weeknight, man. Oh, that's a crazy feeling too. So I really love basketball and baseball. I the only reason I didn't love football is just like I always I wasn't as good at it. I mean, I played on defense like my junior. I went from being my freshman year. I was like I was just a quarterback my freshman year on JV, and then I didn't play defense at all. And like sophomore year, I didn't play at all. And then
That was probably when you were growing.
yeah, I was
Your
I was a
6'5"
really that was
frame.
it was probably the valley of my athletic ability, bottom of the valley of my athletic ability. Yeah, freshman sophomore year. Like, even in track, they didn't know what to put me in. They're like, "Just run the 4 by fat." You go out there,
The 4 by fat?
yeah. You'll run the last leg of the 4 by fat and still be the slowest one in it somehow. It's like I was running through molasses when I was trying to sprint, but,
Your feet probably, like, got that much bigger
Yeah,
that
just
year, and you
yeah,
just, like, blah, blah, blah.
no, I always had big feet. I was great. Like I always had big feet. I was just wasn't tall, and until like sophomore year, I got really tall, and I started like my body started figuring out basketball season that year,
Mm.
and then baseball actually really went well sophomore year on JV, in which I got started to play a little more varsity pitching wise towards the end of the year. Just throw me out against the best team that we're not going to beat, and I get shelled for a couple bombs. No big deal. Yeah, so basketball started kind of turn in the right direction. I was just pretty much only a shooter. I didn't really do just play defense and shoot.
stand up,
Yeah, yeah.
shuffle.
But yeah, so I I was generally if you're over like 6'2", you're usually a post
Yeah,
because of
especially in high
small
school.
small school. But I played like wing because I was just shooting so a lot. I was very streaky. Like there'd be days where I'd be on, and then there's days I go like 0 for 8 in the game, like just couldn't hit nothing. It was really frustrating. Yeah, I battle my mental psyche there. But yeah, football. I go back to that. I played defense. I started out as a defensive end in the JV quarterback my junior year, and then I finally started playing varsity
Off.
my
Sorry, I've been playing with the settings. I turned all the cameras off because the light was, like, showing on faces. Like, you had a green hue on your face because the green light was on.
Oh.
So I just shut them all off. They're all on, I promise. I mean, we're still figuring it all out, but yeah.
Oh, cameras are on, but they're off?
Yeah, like, Sean, you keep looking at me. Your camera's over there.
well, I don't need it. I don't need to speak directly to the audience.
Oh, they wanna make eye contact.
Just stay right here, or like look at that.
Lock it in.
I don't know
Lock
why,
it
that
in.
just threw me off, but okay. Anyway,
Back to football.
Oh yeah, I was a 150-pound defensive end.
there's probably a few of those in
Yeah,
baseball.
dude, it was fun. It was fun though. I was playing JV to start the year my junior year,
Yeah.
and I was playing quarterback and defensive end. I got a couple sacks in that first game.
Yeah.
I didn't.
What
Throwing the football was hard, but
did you ever develop a sack celebration?
no, no, I can't think quick enough in the moment to do so. It amazes me. Like what I see the other day, like it was the Iowa game where the guy who recovered the blocked field goal, sprints into the end zone at the end of the first half. Ridiculous call and ridiculous play. Anyway, that was whole, but they won. So, and the Penn State guy just had this celly ready to go. Like this is probably a backup defensive back. Like he just
ready.
yeah, he got the field
Stay
goal.
ready.
Not even a pick six. Like he just got the ball came right to him. He sprinted for a touchdown. And he just already had the celebration ready to go. I was like, I can't. Like all these kids with their double celebrations these days too.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I can't even think that fast. I just get there. I'm like, oh, thank goodness I got to second. Or thank goodness I didn't get thrown out.
For the viewers, Sean is an Iowa fan. Every time Iowa plays Penn State, it is like a marked calendar date.
Well, yeah, and it's just always going to be Sean about has a heart attack every single time. It's just that's the kind of game it always ends up being. It's crazy, but except for it doesn't matter. But
So let's
Yeah.
talk after high school. Where did you let us know more? Like
Okay.
where'd we go?
Yeah. So when I was going through high school, I knew I wanted to play a college sport. I was able to identify that I wasn't going to play college football. I definitely didn't want to run college track. I was an okay distance runner. I wasn't anything special there, but definitely didn't want to. My older brother did track at Morningside in Sioux City, which I'll get to in a second. But definitely didn't want to do that. But I love baseball, like probably more than anything. I thought in my head basketball was my best sport. I just thought like I could develop into a good basketball player. I don't think I really was good in high school. My stats would back me up there, but
What was your vertical?
probably 12 inches,
Credit card?
maybe 2 credit cards.
Two
Thank you.
credit cards? Yeah. The long way.
No.
The short way?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
No, I mean like flat on the ground.
Oh.
So I did have an idea of what I wanted to do in school though. So I knew I wanted to play a sport and I knew I could. I had a good junior year in baseball. So I was like, all right, yeah, like I can go play college somewhere. But I wanted to stay in state for in state tuition. And then I wanted to do sports management. So there was about 3 schools that offered sports management at the time in Iowa. And now a bunch of schools offer it. But at the time it was just University of Iowa. And so I was like, well, I'll go there and I'll try to be a manager on the basketball team or something like that. And then maybe they'll give me pity minutes in my senior year or whatever. But then I did go on a visit to Iowa, just obviously like a college visit, and that was really cool. I was like, I kind of want to go here, and like my dad was thinking the same thing. Like I was gonna go there because then I went on my visit to Briarcliff, which was one of the other 3 schools that had sports management because they were the one school that like responded to me because I filled out stuff for Grandview, which is another NAI in Des Moines. They're a really good football program, solid baseball program. I know they have a good wrestling program too there, but um because I'd actually done like a fall league at Grandview too, so I was like, yeah, well, maybe. But so I ended up, but Briarcliff responded to me, and then their coach had started to talk to me just a little bit. So I went up there for a visit. Yeah, compared to Iowa, it's you're talking a super small private NAIA school in Sioux City compared to University of Iowa. So like, obviously I'm the wow
Basically
factor.
the same size.
Dude, Briarcliff's kind of crazy though, and I love that place. Obviously, I ended up committing there, going there to play baseball. It was my only like
Yeah.
offer, but I didn't shop myself anywhere other than JUCOs. I tried to go to JUCO. I didn't realize that I was nowhere near enough to go good enough to go to a JUCO because Iowa JUCOs are pretty good.
Solid.
But yeah, so I just like for basketball and baseball, I was just like filling out recruiting forms to Iowa schools that I was like, okay, I got a shot to go here maybe and just try that out. If I went to JUCO, I'd do something like business or something, then try to transfer somewhere to do sports management.
Did you get any did your high school coach, did they help with that at
No,
all? Okay.
no.
Yeah.
There wasn't. Yeah, it was like yeah, it was weird. There was no necessarily wasn't any external,
Right.
help or resources there. It was just like, all right, go fill out some recruiting
Yeah.
forms, and that's what I did.
Good luck.
Well,
My older brother,
great.
my older brother got recruited,
Yeah.
because like he was a really good cross country and track runner. Like he ran a 4:47 mile his junior year, and so the schools were interested in him. Like when you go run at the Drake Relays in Des Moines, Iowa, which is a big event nationally, and then a lot of track talent in Iowa, but then you do like this, they hold the state championships there, obviously, and you go run there. There's going to be a lot of colleges there watching, and they wanted him, and so he went on a couple different visits. He ended up going to Morningside. It was actually where my mom went too, but and my grandma, I think, but so I ended up going to Briarcliff, go on my visit there, talk to the coach.
But you set that up.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
They were interested,
Yeah.
but yeah, it wasn't like
It's just
they.
so crazy to me, dude, because that's such a piece, and I know we'll talk about it more in Parisi's stuff too, but I have conversations all the time, and it's just like these high school coaches in our area and obviously that area, probably every area, it's just like if they're not being recruited on their own, it's almost like there's this disconnect of trying to help kids who are capable of playing at the next level. But it's just I don't know what the disconnect is. It to me it's just wild because I think if I was a head high school coach, that would be my number one thing. Yeah, winning baseball games or football games or
No, you
whatever at
want
the
to.
high school level is cool. That's, cool. But the reality is my job, I would think part of that job description would be about how many guys can I get to go to college? Because helping them along in their lives, I think should be probably a slight bit higher on my priority list than, hey, we won another high school football game. It's just, or high school baseball game, whatever it is. But there's a disconnect there because I don't think that I got any help in high school that I can remember
It's
anyway. Maybe some outside
yeah.
coaches, travel coaches, that type of stuff helping out here and there, but I don't know how much of that was, but for people out there, because obviously this podcast is going to touch into a lot of those topics as we move along, but I think kids need to hear that more, like our kids in our program, but then the kids just across the board, they need to understand, listen, Like, dude, if you want it, you're gonna have to
Oh
go
yeah,
do it. Like,
absolutely.
it's not
There,
they're not
no one,
gonna
no
do it
one's, no
for
one's
you.
lining up for you unless you're that one of, you're that top 50
Yeah.
athlete
Yeah,
that's
you're
just,
one of the
you
top,
know.
probably even top 500
But
across the country. Yeah.
even those guys, like they're still they got their Twitter handle. They're all posting their highlights every single time. Like, yeah, no, I mean these. It's crazy. Like these kids are like, well, yeah, I'm not talking to anybody yet. And I'm like, why not?
Yeah, who
You
why?
you
No,
have to
you need to
initiate.
talk to
It's not
them.
like
Yeah.
Friends University is just scouring the land for you.
Right. Yeah.
It's like, and then yeah, well, and we talked to a high school coach at some point, and he was just like, oh yeah, I don't really try to connect people with college anymore because we had a few instances where they like go to college and then they kind of burn out or whatever. It's like, okay,
It's
so
like,
you're like,
yeah, that's part of it, but the
yeah,
reality is
yeah.
like
So
it's
it's like
still
you just stop, like,
right.
like you stop helping these kids because of the actions of another kid. But
Yeah.
It's crazy that you guys talk about, posting everything up. I mean, I'm gonna flash some age here, but we we didn't have that when I was in high school. Like, you just didn't create that. That was like a
right, yeah,
videotape or something that your coach created on a CD, because back then burning CDs was like a cool thing.
Yeah,
well,
but I think that's also
frowned.
that's the disconnect though. Is like these kids, they have parents who grew up in that age, right? In that demographic, in that timetable. And recruiting back then is how that was done,
Hmm.
right? Because if people really wanted to find you, like wanted to do that recruiting, a lot of that was done in person because
Right.
we didn't have the access to the internet, right? Like, and you didn't have access to all these different ways of seeing who people are without ever even sitting in front of them or shaking their hand or talking to them. So I think that funnels down from that parent mentality of like, "Oh, no, if you're good enough, they'll find you." It's like, no, like it's yes and no, I guess. Like sometimes, sure, like if you're that kid that's a top of the chart, you're the 6'5" athlete in high school, but you run a, 4.3 and like all these things that are so abnormal for athletes, then yeah, like you're gonna find some people with super
Zoom
speed. Yeah, there
in,
you go.
super speed.
But I don't know. I think that's something we'll talk about as we move along.
Yeah,
But it is a thing that I think is important to address because we can help a lot of kids understand what that actually looks like. And there's services and all that stuff that's out there nowadays that do different things, which, services are
shout
services, I
out Chris
guess. But
Browning.
yeah, nothing wrong with it. It's just, you have to take initiative if you want to be able to go and do
Oh
the
yeah.
things you want to do.
Well,
So,
and I think that's just there's just and yeah, we'll get into this eventually, but there's just a lack of first of all, self-awareness.
yeah.
And I'll get into this, but lack of self-awareness and then lack of accountability to self-accountability. Especially in today's culture.
Yep.
In general in the culture, but also and that trickles down to sports as well. And
Oh, massive disconnect in
if you want
athletics.
to talk about like true toxicity, say that wrong, but toxicity almost always comes from lack of self-awareness, lack of self-accountability. Doesn't matter what the situation is, and that's why a lot of the youth sports culture is so toxic.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, as far as the recruiting goes, just getting back to Briarcliff, super grateful for those coaches, man. I mean, they were only my coaches for 1 year. Uh, and it was a pretty crazy year. And we get talking about recruiting. I mean, and you talked about a culture shock yesterday. For me, I'm just going to another city in Iowa. I'm like, this will be whatever. But what's crazy is, and I had dudes from Florida in my class that I'm still great friends with today. Texas, a lot of dudes from Arizona, some California boys, and then of course you had your South Dakota, Nebraska, Minnesota, uh,
Northerners.
Iowa, obviously, and yeah, but it's just crazy. I get there and I have our closers from Hawaii. We have a bunch of JUCO guys from California. I mean, it was fun. It was a cool group of guys. But this also goes to show, and I think we talked about this the other night, just a different conversation. Like honestly, baseball, it's like team chemistry. Honestly, not much to do. It helps, but like if you have a group of guys playing together, like in travel ball for a really long time, that you have an advantage, right? But like team chemistry, but like, because that team had like chemistry. We all kind of had our own cliques, but like, there's 40 dudes on a team. Obviously, that's going to happen. But like that team was special and it was talented, and we had just an epic collapse my freshman year. I did a lot of great things. I went to practice every day, cheered the guys on from the bleachers on game days, and
Had
watched
a
them.
golden clipboard.
Oh man, I'd even do that. I wasn't
Oh.
even skilled. The one time I was doing something like to help, I was like doing the radar gun and marking down pitches. I radared the other pitcher and I got yelled at by the umpire because I'm not supposed to do that. Or maybe that was my sophomore year. I can't remember. I just remember that specifically. Yeah, I that was a fun team my freshman year. I went to a wedding actually back in March for a guy that I only knew freshman year. I went down in Arizona. And I got to see all those guys again. It was so cool. It was just like in a couple summers ago, my first summer here in Wichita, I went to a wedding out in California for my buddy at first base who kind of like took me under his wing. I knew him 1 year at college, and I'm still in contact with these guys 7 years later. Really awesome. And, sophomore year, we get a new coach and new coaching staff. And so I tried pitching again.
Smart.
I'm just like, I miss pitching. And I was like, realized that like pitching was my favorite part of the game. But my junior year, my ERA in high school was bad. It was kind of inflated by my first start. Go out there opening night, just give up 7 runs in 2/3 of an inning.
What was the URA?
I was like 8 my junior year. So I had some good starts that year.
Some schools that might set records.
Well, you know what? You know what I realized though. Is like, I mean, it was inflated by that one start.
Yeah.
And then I get to college and I see the other guys pitching, and I'm like, what? I'm better than them, right? Like our main JV starter was, and I looked at his numbers. I was like, there's no way this guy was good in high school because he played at a 4A school. I was like, there's no way. I look up his numbers. And same thing. It's like an 11 or something like that. I was like, okay, what? Why didn't I just pitch? But I took that whole year off of pitching. I gained a bunch of weight my freshman year. I went from 165 to 200 in 1 year, and I'm like,
Naturally.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Skittles and Mountain Dew and slower metabolism.
Casey's pizza.
No, just calf food. I didn't have any money. But like, I had to it's pretty traditional in high school. And then as I went back to pitching, I had to like drop my arm angle down. I couldn't get any velocity. I had arm lag and everything. I didn't know how to use my body at all and never was taught. So like after 2 weeks, the pitching coach was like, hey, and the head coach was like, hey, we got to choose one pitcher, hitter. And I just went back to hitting because I was like, well, that's what I know. And proceeded to have the worst fall of my life. For worst stretch of baseball in my life. Went hitless the entire fall. It was great. Yeah. It's great. With a new coaching staff there and everything.
Yeah, they were high on you.
Yeah. They kept
fall,
which was great too, because like I was in there. I was the only returning first baseman my sophomore year. And then they brought in, I think, 3 freshmen and then a D1 bounce back. When he walked, I legit thought he was a coach. This dude walked in and he's,
hello, sir.
Yeah.
How are you, sir?
Yeah. Talk about natural. But he's just a beast of a guy. Ended up eligibility wise, NAI didn't confirm his eligibility, so he transferred to Augustana and balled out for them in the season. But he transferred that semester. That guy was just ripping 110 off the bat. That guy was a monster. But they kept like we had 4 first basemen over there, and they just kept moving other infielders over to first base.
Before you were getting your chance?
Yeah. That's how bad I was in the fall, man. It was so terrible. And I was actually a pretty good defensive first baseman at that point, but well, maybe not that point, later. So junior, senior year, I mean, I was basically just a glorified cheerleader. I wasn't that good. I had a lot of, I don't know, just a lot of, first of all, struggles, and just couldn't ever translate the T swing or whatever to game swing, or practice swing to game swing. So it was that was my disconnect there. Defensively, I was fine. I knew like if I ever got put in an actual game defensively, I could hold it down at first base. Like I consider that'd be the one thing. Like I consider myself by my junior, senior year a good defensive first baseman, considering that I barely played any first base in high school. In my second practice of college, they moved me over to first base, and then I just stuck there. So it was a journey, all right. I had some issues senior year, just kind of off the field issues, and nothing serious, just mental wear and tear, and I end up not playing my senior spring season because I had been coaching for a couple years all then. And in my head, I was just like, it doesn't make sense for me to play JV. It wasn't a pride thing, really. Like, cause like my roommate, he was in the same boat as me, and he was like, "Hey, it's gonna be JV, but I'm gonna play till I can't anymore." I was like,
Right.
"Hey, sure,
Nothing wrong
cool."
with that.
But
Yeah.
in my mind, I'm like, there's other people who can benefit from those at bats than I do, and mentally, I'm just not there. So like, I don't want to be checked out anymore. I got to pay rent at this house. I got to work a little bit more, and it
Yeah.
just makes sense. And so, but my goal, I realized pretty early that I probably wasn't going to make it much of an impact on the field, if any. So I just, my main focus was to be self awareness. My main focus was to be the best teammate I could be and work as hard as I possibly can to still try to make something happen. So nonstop in the weight room. If I would have maybe taken a few weekends off the extracurricular activities, maybe would have been seen those gains a little bit more. But
Yeah.
this is what it is.
Like work-life balance, right?
You're
That's what we
right,
talked about.
right. Uh, but I got done with college, and actually my senior year spring, I did the. I talked to the coach. It was ending on good terms and everything. I was
Yeah.
like, "Hey, I just a step away from the team. I hope like I can keep like my scholarship for the this semester and everything." He's like, "Oh yeah, it's good." And then I did for my internship, my sports management internship, I did the live stream play by play my senior year for home games. So I got to do that. That was pretty cool. I still kind of stayed around, been part of the team, stopped at practices and stuff, and so it was fun.
Give us an example.
Of the play by play?
Yeah, just
Ah, no,
do it for your Yankees.
no, I don't want to do it for the Yankees. I'm pissed off at them. So
Well, I think that like and people listening to, there's a lot obviously to unpack in that journey and in what you do from a college perspective, right? First and foremost, playing college sports is hard, right? Like not everybody makes it to that level, not even close to that level. And a lot of times you see people standing on the sidelines that have a bunch of opinions for a lot of different things. And, that wears you out. Like that is something that, gets under your skin, gets into your head. Like it's just, it's a lot. And, for someone who went through it, right, stayed with a team, I think it speaks to your character. And it definitely, I'm sure those coaches saw the same thing as well, too, of, you're still willing to be a team player, still working with the team, still doing stuff with the team. And we live in a culture, like we talked about a little bit ago, that high percentage of people, they just wouldn't do that, like they wouldn't be a part of that and they would want to probably run away and blame somebody else in comparison to just owning the fact of kind of where you are and what you can contribute to the organization. And like you said, in your words, being the best teammate that you could be. Because I've seen it a million times over, not only from people that I played with, but then also people that were just surrounding the organizations that I've been around where they become cancerous because it's not going their way.
yeah.
And, and it is a mental struggle. I'm sure that you came out on the other I know that you came out on the other end of that a better person, but, you were still able to achieve something that I think is incredibly hard to do. I think you gained a ton of life experience from that. And, obviously, I think that's what catapults you in a direction to, your next steps, right? Like
Mhm.
you look back on that now and you're able to, take from those experiences, learn from those things and become a better version of yourself. Also, be able to give back to those kids that are going through that journey as well, which, is kind of good segue into, kind of so what happens after college for you, because that's kind of your next steps there is, how do you kind of start to unpack life? Because that's something that I think everybody goes through of, what do I do now? You know what I mean? Because I've known sports and sports have been around. So what's the next thing? How am I going to do it? What kind of led you, to eventually showing up on our doorstep and going down that path?
Yeah, that's a good question. I knew that I wanted to be around sports in some capacity. Naturally, going to school for sports management. I had actually like my pipe dream was to be a major league baseball general manager. So construct the team. That's what interests me more than coaching. I wanted to build the team from the ground up and then watch see what happens. But then I coached for a couple summers. I got to coach my brother, which was really cool. Think that would make our relationship worse, considering how much of a jerk I was to him for most of the life. No, I mean it was awesome. I fell in love with coaching then, but I still like I was like, well, I want to go somewhere else. I thought Briarcliff was a good spot to be, and Sioux City was a good spot to be because my brother was already there. Voice crack. My brother was already there, you know, at the other college in town.
Mhm.
So that was cool. And then it was like a far enough drive where it's like I'm not gonna be tempted to go home every single weekend because like I'm from a small town. It's like a lot of people hang around. There's nothing wrong with that. I wanted to get away though, just to meet new people, distance myself a little bit, and uh, but I always loved going home, seeing my parents. But I didn't want to be so close where I'd be tempted to go home like every single weekend. I wanted to, have my own life a little bit, but I knew I needed a little bit more connections if I was going to work in sport, which I didn't think I'd necessarily add a good base to go start off if I was going to stay in Sioux City. And I didn't really want to stay. I love Sioux City. It's like another home to me every time I go back there. But also a lot of the mental kind of struggles I went to come back when I go there. So I'm like, get on out of here. But so I was looking at grad schools because I thought if I go there, maybe I'll learn a little bit more. And then also develop some more connections or get to know some people who have some connections and build some relationships. And that was kind of my plan. So I think I talked about this on the first pod, but I was going to apply to Iowa and Wichita State. I applied to Wichita State. Everything went smooth. I was going to apply to Iowa because when I visited there, I was like, this is a cool place. And it would be cool to say like I went to Iowa, and be there and go to football games and everything. Like I was like, that sounds like a lot of fun. But then it was like, oh yeah, you got to take this test too and apply. Really want to do that. Still in the middle of this, like I'm in my senior year of college. I'm still in the middle of this like kind of transition period where I'm stepping away from baseball. I'm like, I don't want to take a test. What? So like, I didn't end up finishing that application. My dad's like, why didn't you? I was like, I just kind of spaced it.
So did WSU just like call you back immediately, kind of a thing?
Yeah, I got accepted into Wichita State's grad program. I don't know, a couple weeks probably, maybe
Yeah.
a month. So they accepted me, and so that was my plan. Then I was like, I'm going to go there. One of my old gym teacher from high school, his like nephew or something went there, and actually got me connect. And I had been talking back and forth with my gym teacher a little bit. Pretty grateful for him, kind of connecting me that way. It's just interesting. And then he got me connected with his nephew who worked at I think he's still there, but I don't really know for sure. He works at Iowa State now, but we sat down and he got me connected with Brent Chemnitz over at Wichita State. So when I went down there, I had a person to talk to
Yeah.
already. And so I talked to him because he, of course, had connections to the baseball program and I wanted to get involved in that. And he's like, well, I'll go talk to the guys and see what it is. But then Brent's actual job was outreach. He's like assistant AD of outreach and development, something along the lines of that. I could be butchering that. But he essentially is the man around town for Wichita sports and the hype man. So
Yeah.
he'll go like he's awesome. I mean, he's got a motor that goes, and he's around town, having dinner with people and trying to get them riled up for Wichita State sports. And so I ended up then Chris Spall. I don't think he works there anymore, but he was also worked in that development office. I was in class one day at Wichita State after getting down here, August of 2022. I was in class a couple weeks, and then he came to class and did a presentation about, hey, we're looking for a GA in development. I didn't know what that meant. I was like, development, athletic development? No, it wasn't that. But so I texted him. I was like, hey, I'm interested. And then I filled out the application. We talked back and forth, sat down for like a little interview. And then he offered me that GA job. So I got to be a grad assistant in development for 2 years there at Wichita State, which was really fun. It's like event coordination and donor relations and kind of sitting at a desk during the day, kind of answering phone calls and stuff, and a few other like random responsibilities that I had. And then just on game day operations, I'd be running like the donor clubs. So like the Champions Club for basketball, the All American Club for baseball, and like then women's basketball and volleyball had their own little things too that we would do in the Champions Club. So was pretty fun. I got to know some cool people, and the people in development there were just awesome. I actually saw one of them the other night. I haven't talked to them in forever, so it was kind of cool to see them. But um, yeah, and I was like, this would actually be a really fun thing to do too if I could stick around. But I mean, they didn't have like a opening or anything there. I mean, the transition of college athletics, and especially in a place like Wichita State, people are probably, I would assume, doing their job more than hiring extra people. So then, but that was kind of how it went at Wichita State. A lot of fun doing that. And then, yeah, 2023. So my first summer here in Wichita, I was like, okay, I got an itch to like coach still. And so I was like, I don't really want to go back home for this summer because I had already told my athletic director at my high school that, yeah, because he wanted to know back in like November. And so I was like, all right, well, so I'll look for an opportunity down here. I was just looking up like travel baseball, summer leagues. I was like, I don't really want to do travel baseball, but something told me not to do it. So luckily I didn't. And so I was emailing some people around the summer leagues here for college. What is it called? What's the other one? Doesn't matter. And then somebody got me connected with you, and then I was like, all right, I'll take a shot in the dark. Emailed you, you emailed me right back. All right, cool. So set up a meeting with you. So came here to the facility and we had a good conversation. You asked me if I want to do the Parisi thing. I was like, sure.
Pretty much.
We already talked about how I was slow, so I was like, all right. So and then yeah, it's kind of crazy. So I was working part time here from 2023 to August of 2024, helping out. There were some times where I was like the only coach available too. And it was kind of
Yeah, I'm trying to remember who all was
because when I
working.
started, it was
Yeah.
it was Creighton and Nate and
Yeah.
Garrett.
Yeah, because Nate moved. He got a job
Yeah,
up in
Iowa, yeah,
Iowa.
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 Yeah,
Yeah.
he's still there. He's coaching wrestling up there.
Yeah, he switched colleges a couple times.
And then I think he's at Ames High.
I think he's a
Yeah.
high. Okay.
I could be wrong. That's just the last I saw. And then yeah, and then yeah, it was Garrett, Creighton, and
Because you went
Nate.
so kind of on, so that kind of transitions. Did we? It was pretty much Parisi right out the jump. I mean, that was kind of
Oh yeah.
you were involved with that right in the beginning.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
the Daubers,
Yeah.
and then you got me set up on Valley Center to
Yep.
coach there. So that was like the goal and I wanted to coach there. And so got me set up with Chris and Apple on the Daubers. That was a lot of fun. That first year was it was kind of weird just because I was 23 and all the players were 19, 20, 21, 22. I would say I didn't do a great job like kind of towing the line between like coach and buddy. Felt like I was a little bit more buddy, but we also just had kind of first of all injuries and then just some chemistry issues uh within the team, negative attitudes and stuff, but put it together at the end of the year, made a little run,
Yeah.
and it was but it was a fun, memorable first year, a lot of cool guys who I still kind of off and on keep in contact with, and then last year with the Dobbs was a lot of fun too. And this past season was probably, I mean, obviously the most successful year this past year, but as a coaching staff, it's been really fun to work with Chris. He does a really good job of like, God, there's the head coach, and then that's that because it's summer league. You can definitely blur the lines a little bit.
Oh,
It's
for
just
sure.
like it's really easy to just be like, hey, we're just hanging out playing ball, but then you realize the effect that ends up having and you want the best for these kids, and the best for these kids is, all right, I gotta make sure that I'm their coach and I'm not,
Right.
their best buddy. But then there's Apple, and Apple, man, his baseball IQ very high.
Yep.
That guy's all over it. So he's kind of like our really like our in game manager coach. I guess you'd probably, I mean, he coaches third base, but you'd probably relate him more to like a bench coach in the
Yeah.
MLB.
Yeah.
Just like
Sure.
I think that's what Don Mattingly's doing for the Blue Jays.
Maybe so.
Yeah, I think that's what he's doing. I think he's the bench coach. But yeah, so it's it's fun thing we got here. And then obviously with Parisi, it's just kind of your base coach there for a while. Me and Sheldon had plenty of conversations about, me kind of taking a next step. But it was just like for me, I was like, I wasn't fully committed to Parisi yet. I was still like, I'm finishing up school. I still got this other job at Wichita State. Like, yeah, I want to make more money, sure, but like that was like you talked about, is like if that's your sole purpose, you're not going to be bought into like the vision. And it's just like I was like, okay, I'll do this a little extra outreach to maybe make some more money. If it doesn't go well, obviously, then I kind of like give up or whatever. And so we had plenty of conversations about like trying to, get me into the fold a little bit more than just show up, coach, and leave. So it was, and then finally, kind of a crazy summer last summer. Like obviously, we had the Daubers were red hot to start the year, and then kind of cooled off at the end of the year, and then like going into the summer ball showdown, I had a bunch of stuff going on. Credit card got or my debit card got stolen all at the same time. It was like a whole thing. Like, and then I had some, other big life decisions kind of going on. And anyways, sat down with Sheldon here and
Well, that would have been, so let's backtrack that just a tad
back.
on the timeline, because obviously you started, coaching part-time, essentially assistant coach with Valley Center Mud Daubers, which is
Yeah.
one of the teams, so he's involved, super involved with Parisi, like doing day-to-day classes, doing that type of stuff, getting involved with the kids, but also like your main thing at that point in time, we're talking 2 years ago at this point, really was WSU. Like that was like that
Yeah.
was your main
Yeah.
focus. Like that you had class and different things you were doing with that, but then also like working all their sporting events.
Hmm.
And so that was kind of the main thing. And then, you fast forward a little bit, that obviously you're finishing up with all of that. And, baseball in the summertime is, you're doing that in the summers for the Mud Daubers, being the assistant, whatever Chris is asking essentially at
Yeah.
that for that job,
And
which
he's like, yeah, he's such a terror to work for,
yeah, just a problem guy.
just making me do everything.
Yeah.
Uh,
But then, we kind of sat down and, I think that's definitely something because you had a lot of weird stuff happening, right? So like not weird, that's not the right word, but the life decisions kind of piled up because you had some people that were, essentially trying to get you to take some jobs and like looking into some other things, and nothing wrong with that. I think that's a good thing for listeners that, that's some real life stuff that was
yeah.
happening. And, and I think it kind of, attests to, your quote unquote value that you were bringing to organizations, right? Not only to our organizations, but just in general into our marketplace here. um and you were having some conversations about head coaching jobs and like kind of furthering, the career ladder, if you will, from a title standpoint. So there were some conversations with that. And so I think those are things are, just good to kind of touch on because, there might be people that are listening and, going through some certain things and that same thing, right? So
You definitely had some adversity going on. Like there was a lot of things that were happening at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah, now I'm thinking about more stuff too. Yeah, but
Maybe
yeah,
maybe you just flushed it and we remembered it, like, "Hey, I knew I needed to be here and this is where I went."
yeah, it's kind of crazy. Like ever since I got to Wichita, it just feels like started off really slow. I
yeah,
was just like, I'm like, I got nothing to do. I'm just going to class and coming home, working out. That's
doing
just
a
what
little
I'm.
golfing,
I was
walking to the
golfing.
golf
That
course.
actually was kind of, yeah. I was golfing a lot, man. It was even when like and then yeah, obviously like sports seasons for Wichita State got going. I got busier, but like I still had a lot of time to like golf. I not have that much time to golf anymore, but
Yeah.
it's yeah, it was kinda crazy, and but then it was just like all of a sudden, I got here and it was just like ever since it's just been go, 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 and it's cool. I like that. I mean, I'm tired a lot and probably drink too much caffeine, but, it's, train the heart to failure, that's what they say, but and, I think what was obviously the most pivotal moment about coming to Wichita and, would have been, I had a my first couple months here, I was like I felt really isolated, and I'm so glad I ended up coming here because this gave me like a whole nother like level of family too, like day-to-day family.
Yeah.
But I was super like just like down and isolated when I kind of came to Wichita. And obviously like I had my fun in college in Sioux City. But that kind of that last year in Sioux City, like everybody's like senior year is the best year. No, it was the worst year for me. Absolutely, mentally wise, it was just like, and so alcohol, beer, whatever, became my favorite like little pastime. Yeah, end of 2022, my first winter here in Wichita, it got pretty bad. I guess like I didn't get arrested or anything. Could have probably, but just it was, mentally just struggling and using that, and something woke inside of me after, a certain event. I was just like, "All right, well, I'm gonna go home for Christmas and chill out for a second, and then I'm gonna, open my Bible and start reading." And, that journey kinda led me along, and, April of 2023, my parents came to town. They were like, my mom's like, "Hey, my cousin said there's this preacher here, this pastor here in, Wichita that she thinks you'd really like." I'm like, "All right, I'll try it." I was looking for a church, and, ended up going there, and I haven't gone anywhere else since then, and I don't think that happens very much to people, and that's super cool. It's just like, normally, you go, you try out a few different places. I went there and it was right, and sure enough, so I went to Glen Park and,
GPGs.
yeah, man, it's been crazy. And second service, there, a sermon on justification, that was the moment right there. I got saved, gave my life to Christ, and that helped me, and we were talking, I just went once we started talking about adversity, I was just like, "That's the moment where everything changed." Like, adversity was tough. Things going on is tough, right? But, like, when you have the peace within you to kind of deal with it, that doesn't come from me, because if I focused on me all the time, that peace would never be there, because that's what I was doing before that, right? And so, um, total game changer there. And then, out of clearly not a coincidence, a couple weeks later after starting to go to Glen Park, I meet you and I'm here, right? Like couple within a
Ta-da.
week or 2. Yeah, and it's just I end up here because I was praying a lot about a coaching opportunity. I was like, "Lord, if it's not in your will for me to coach, I won't coach. I'll go find something else to do," right? But, I really want this, but I understand, like, if this ain't what you have for me, right? I'll be like, "All right, cool." And sure enough, within a week, you responded back to me. We had that conversation. I got a coaching job, and then Parisi happened too. So, and then I think, and then I got baptized, in September that year too. So it was a lot of awesome stuff just happening, and it's not like, I mean, I was coaching this summer, but it's not like I had any money or anything. Like, I was just fine, but it was just I had, like, no more peace than ever,
Yeah.
able to handle that stuff. And then obviously the craziness that we were just talking about as we get into 2024 last year with the summer, and how everything was kind of going on there.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's been a cool journey kind of watching you develop through all of that. And, obviously from that, baseball, you have a bunch of opportunities, different people calling. And you're kind of at that same crossroads, right? That most people get to is like, okay, I talked about it a little bit yesterday too, but you got to that point and it was, well, what do I do here? Right? Like, am I gonna, just go get a regular job, which again, I always, say there's nothing wrong with just going and doing
Yeah.
whatever you want to do. But it boils down to, you're at that crossroads of, am I going to go do this because it's a means to the end, which is right here, right now, and makes me comfortable with what I got to do. And sometimes people have to make that decision, and that's what you have to do. Right. But I think we had really good conversation. We sat down and, kind of just, essentially spitballed back and forth like, hey, well, what do you really want? Like what are the things that you want to do and how do you want to see the next year to 2 years to 3 years of your life? And how do we go about, putting a playbook together to actually do the things that you say you want to do, right? And, ultimately, you have to make that decision and you have to bet on yourself and then not allow yourself to get into your own way.
Oh yeah.
And, we had really deep conversations about that stuff and then sat down and kind of wrote out that playbook, which I still think's funny to this day. Um, just with the details that we have on it in comparison to the results that you've actually,
Yeah.
been able to provide. And, and at that point in time, you were still, excuse me, just coaching, right? Like in that, and then we got into the winter here of what would that have been? 20.
2024.
Yeah, so the winter of 24, looking
Right
into
at
25.
the ceiling.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you earned your stripes in the ceilings, putting in installation, but and then you get promoted essentially to, the program director title and the role and have developed, tremendously in that and taken on ownership in that aspect of, hey, like I am, the new in some aspects like figurehead that we are promoting as a business in that role. And in front of our parents, in front of the families, and in front of the stuff. So kind of dive into, on the Parisi side of things, what kind of led you there, number one, but number two, how do you, work that on a day-to-day basis? Like, what are the pieces of that have kind of come full circle for you, led you into it, but then also just what you're doing on a day-to-day kind of like right now?
Yeah, so I think I would start with the certification
Yeah.
uh, that you sent me to. It's like you talked about yesterday, and same guy certified us, Coach Chad, and certified Dave as well.
Yep.
And
Everybody's been through
yeah, and then
the ringer.
Brock and Nate and Creighton and like all those guys
Yep.
all got certified by Chad, and that's when I like knew this is a really good culture to be a part of if I can make this work. But that's still like that went I was it's just too early for me to like be like, all right, I'm doing it right. But I was like, I came back and I was like, okay, now I have more tools. I have more of a why, I guess, and because like it was like a cementing, you know, moment where I knew I wanted to coach again. It's
Mhm.
like because
Yeah.
it's easy if you're on the coaching grind to look at the work you put in, to look at the money you get back and say, I love coaching, but I can't do this because I can do it as a part time, but that means even more work and even less time to, chill out or whatever you want to do. But who needs to chill out? Come on. And so but being there, I was like, this is a great network to be a part of. It's a great culture to be a part of. These are people who truly care about serving others, right? And we talked about that a little bit and about how can I humble myself today to serve someone else? How can I get my mind off my own crap and my own stupid self to go serve someone else and, you know, assist them in getting to where they need to go? And that's essentially what coaching should be, right? You step on that turf, you step on that field, whatever it is, you forget your own bull crap, you leave that behind and you go and serve them. Like you don't bring your own stuff and affect them. So I saw that as like a big turning point to where like I was like, yeah, this is a great culture to be a part of. Then we go along and obviously you're a big supporter of me throughout this entire process. Dave really helps me a lot, even though honestly, like if you didn't want to, you have no really dog in the like you didn't have to, right? A bunch of different times you helped me out. What doesn't even matter what it is, just
I
because
have
I
a dog in the fight. Trust
well,
me.
I mean, but it's just like I was just at the time just like a part time coach, this person walking through. It also got me to see like this is a really it's a like this family, this is a culture I want to be a part of. So and then we have the conversation last year, like you were talking about sitting down, and that was more impactful than any of the interviews that I went on because the interview obviously that's a thing you have to do if you want to go get a job naturally, but they are sitting there and this was a organization I was already familiar with, and this was a person who already has a lot at stake putting his faith in me, right? And so there's a difference there. And then and then we have had a lot of moments in the ceiling, not weird moments, just well maybe, but
You have to
just
find ways to entertain yourself through that work.
man, that was some long nights.
I mean, the ceiling, I'm just thankful that you're 8 inches taller than both of us.
That that
That also
that
helped
was
out
the
quite a bit.
that was the
mean
non-negotiable that I had to go up there eventually.
Yeah.
I was avoiding it at first because I was
Yeah.
like, yeah, I'll cut insulation, I'll send it up to you guys, and but me being tall and having long arms kind of,
Makes a big difference.
yeah, I couldn't work a drill up there, but I could reach stuff, so I just
Hold
lose.
it in place. We'll
Yeah.
we'll break some rules and figure out how we can get it in there.
Oh yeah, trust me, the hand of God is with us up there when we're up because I mean we should not be trying to balance on certain anyway. But
Just getting it done.
yeah,
Just getting
just
it
get
done.
it done and move on. And
And
I'm
it-
not afraid of heights anymore.
It
so,
worked.
Yeah, no, it's pretty cool. But yeah, going through stuff like that, just like projects and it's everyday things that you get. It's not like I go to an office and I'm just complaining to my other employee about the stuff we got to do. No, it's like we're all in this. We're doing this. We're all trying to make this place succeed. Let's do it. And then
I really just want to know the like aha moment. Like what put that in the timeline where the aha moment came when you were just like, yeah, this is it. This is
like for Parisi.
Yeah.
I mean, I would say that, it's a good question. I don't have an aha moment. I can't sit here and think of a specific time other than knowing that when I sat back and reflected on what I'm gonna do next, and I look back at who's been in my corner, or if I'm going forward, who do I want in my corner? I think that's what, made that decision. I think it was like just the meeting with Sheldon there and him, knowing my situation, what I was gonna be in, and let's break it down. Let's make it work. So the belief in me is, I guess, if there was a aha moment, that would be it, right? I didn't have somebody trying to like peddle something that means a lot to me to come get me to take a job. It was like, okay, let's see how we can make this work, and I'm gonna do all I can to help make it work. So then we got started with building a base of lesson network, which was a game changer. Obviously, nothing I ever like. You encouraged me to take my first lesson on just a kid who would come to Parisi a lot. He needs to come back, but uh, he asked me one day, he's like, "Hey, you know anybody who does, like, baseball lessons?" And I was like, "No." I was like, I could help you out, but well, I did know somebody, Tommy. I knew Tommy. I was like, "I got Tommy down there." And Sheldon's like, "Why don't you do it?" I was like, I'm not like,
What? No.
yeah. So he was the first kid I took on. I was like, gosh, that's about 2 years ago or something like that. I don't
Right.
know, year and a half, 2 years ago. And then you're like, let's go with it. I had one or two more that kind of trickled in. I was doing like maybe like three, I would say like 3 to 6 a month,
Yeah.
just as little bit here. And then you're like, well, let's run with that a little bit more. Put your name out there, get people in the door, and just work with them and see what happens. And I tell and so that was big and big thing early on to help get me some, I guess, some means,
Yeah.
some cash while trying to build up a base for Parisi,
Yeah.
and before I was, officially like program director or anything like that. So, but the lessons I'm very grateful for because it got rid of it's just pure baseball. It's just pure. Let me get you better at baseball. It's not, it's the purest form of coaching. I mean, yeah, they're paying me money for it, but like, um, I tell all the parents who come in, I'm just like, I'm not reinventing the wheel. I wasn't some stud player. I'm just going to. I know the best part about failing so much is that I reached out to try and get help a lot of ways. So I know a lot of things that maybe didn't work out for me, but could work out for you. And then I know this other thing that that thing didn't work out for you, but I could try this other thing that maybe worked out.
Right.
It's not like I did something perfect. I'm going to implant that on every single person. No, I just know what helped me. I know what didn't help me. And I've gotten a lot of advice from a lot of great people over the years that I can help instill into you. And it's all about the relationship. It's not about your skill set in the
Yeah.
game. Like kids will ask me, "You ever hit a home run?" No, I didn't.
Yeah.
All
Well,
my
and
life, didn't hit a bomb. So
that pulls to your authenticity, and I think that authenticity is something that is scarce in the market in this day and age as well too. We have so many guys across the board that they either try to live their careers through the people that
mm,
they're trying to help people with, which is just, it blows me away. It's like, dude, to me, I start to question the motive behind why you do it that way. Number one. Number two, then you have people that are like, they try to act like, they know every little detail of every little thing. And it's like, man, like you can go up and down any sport, any professional sport, no matter what it is, and there's different ways of doing the same things. Like people hit differently, people kick differently, people shoot
oh
differently.
yeah,
Like it doesn't matter the sport. It's just, there's more than one way of getting to the finish line. And certain people have, we have the data and all of that stuff nowadays that people just dive way
it's
too
it's
deep
it's too
into.
much, man.
Yeah,
When
it's
you're working with kids, it's just like let's
overwhelming.
get you to just get that barrel to the ball.
Yeah,
Let's
let's
get you
keep
to
it
throw
simple.
throw that ball over the plate,
Right.
And some people, I hear people talk about, they're like, "Oh, how can you?" And this even goes back to when I was coaching at Colonesco, where I was the junior high head coach.
Hmm.
Head coach, yeah, that's right. I don't know why
Yeah. Nice.
I like leaned in there to say it, yeah,
Yeah.
but no, this goes back to that. I remember like a teacher asking me, one of my teachers in high school, and she's like, "Man, I bet those junior high kids are just like awful, like not she didn't say awful, but she's like a handful or something to
Mhm.
coach. Because I mean, she teaches them every day. Like
Right.
she knows how
Sure.
much like how crazy they can be. I mean, this is 6th to 8th graders, right? I was like, no, it's actually a lot of times I enjoyed nothing against coaching high schoolers because I did really enjoy that too. I mean, my little brother was on the team, but the 6th through 8th grade was almost more fun for me, just because it was a little bit more of that pure coaching. It's like these kids don't have these habits ingrained in them yet, right? They have a lot of rawness to them that
Yeah.
you can kind of mold and then see. And this is their first time playing on a full size field. It's not like, Iowa, we don't have 12U, 13U, 14U. We have probably some travel teams in Iowa. I don't know of any. I never did that. I just played
We didn't have to because everybody's playing in the
right,
summer.
you just
Yeah.
well, and then, like, I played little league, and then I played junior high, and then I played
Right.
high school. That's about and just working with those junior high kids, and just seeing them succeed
Yeah.
was, like, the first time this little shrimp 7th grader actually hits one out of the infield,
Right.
and or just gets to first base, like, it might have been an error or
That's so
something. Yeah, when
Yeah.
they're just, like, excited and, like, seeing, like, kids figure it out to
Yeah.
pitch from 60 feet, which I think it's so underrated that people just don't even like look at as like these, especially the 6th graders who go
Uh-huh.
out there and pitch really well for me, who have all spring long have thrown from 45 feet. Now they go 15 feet back and are
Right.
throwing 32-mile-an-hour fastballs, but
Right.
it's getting over the plate and it's getting out. So I'm just like, this is awesome.
Yeah.
And then my assistant coach, I always give him crap for this because he's a buddy of mine. Um, don't tell him I said. I always say he's not my friend, but whatever. I was giving him crap for this because he just overreacts to stuff.
Oh,
I'm like,
yeah.
dude, chill out, man. It's fine. If they lose this game, it's fine.
Good.
I'm not gonna use my best pitcher, all game long Monday and then pitch him again all game long on Friday. I'm not gonna do that to him. I'm probably gonna pitch him once, maybe twice a week. And if I pitch him twice a week, like I'm gonna not tax his arm out. Like,
No, we'll just say it. No one cares.
dude,
I don't
all these
care
kids, yeah.
13, 14, 15, 16, 17. I don't even care 18U. I do not care. College recruiting is never going to look back
Oh
and
no.
go, "Oh my gosh, you guys won the Midwest Classic senior blah 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 13U
Triple
whatever."
A.
Yeah, like nobody gives a
Dude,
shit.
it was
Like it doesn't matter. Like just
it's like
focus on the game, get better at the
it is
game.
all about development. That's it.
Yes.
And that's why like doing these lessons, man, it brings all those like feelings back from coaching that team, those
Yeah.
teams that I worked with. And hey, we did win some games and we got better and it was a lot of fun. Like seeing the progression year 1 to year 2, because I didn't get to coach them in the COVID year. They canceled the junior high season, which is stupid, but whatever. We had like a shortened high school season, which is fun. We had a high school season, but it's just dumb. They took that whole year of baseball away from kids at that age. Like what?
Mhm.
So
Being outside too. Wow.
uh,
Wow. What are the odds?
luckily I was in Iowa for COVID because that was probably the most lax. Like
Oh yeah. I'm sure.
it definitely wasn't. I mean, if I would have went over to like Des Moines, I'm sure it was a little bit more. But like it's like I'm in the middle of
How'd that go, good?
flat.
That's funny.
Yeah, but so like yeah, fast forward back to like Parisi, the why, going back, if I'm talking about like the lessons and how pure it is just to work with a kid, right? And get them better and serve them and get them better. That's how it is on the Parisi side of things.
Yeah.
It's like I'm not coming in here with an agenda to make myself look good. I'm not trying to use you to prop me up. This is not what that's about. It's all about getting these kids better because it's purely athletic performance. And when we take away the sports and just have them work on that and learn how to move, we don't have to like, they're just going to get better at the sport.
Yeah.
No matter what.
Yep.
Everything gets better. And like, parents ask like, oh, it's not sweating very much. Like, or like, oh, he's not really tired after, or she's not really tired. I was like, that's not what this is about.
Yeah.
They come in here for an hour. They're going to put in some work and they're going to go hard. And at the stuff, I'm still going to give them proper rest time and I'm going to let them recover before we go into like just getting them on the turf, and they might be ornery, whatever, but once again, just seeing them figure something out. Like just recently have a kid who goes from like, kind of losing it or as the kids say, crashing out or whatever, because he can't do a certain movement. And now 2 weeks later, he's doing these movements. Now they're not perfect, but like he's doing them.
Well, that's a good point for people that do listen to understand, or at least this is my opinion. there's a massive difference between training and coaching.
Oh, yeah.
There's a massive difference, and we live in a field, I guess, where those things become kinda synonymous words, and they're not the same things, right? Anybody can be a trainer. Anybody can train.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
so much training that's available. I mean, you can train yourself. You can get training from people like that. Training is about the lowest form in my brain, in my opinion, especially understanding how in depth what we do here. I mean, training is the most simplistic way of the approach, right?
Oh, yeah.
It's it's
Drill, drill,
literally
drill, drill.
just drills, numbers, reps, counts, right? Like there's
And
just
just assuming that's all gonna get them
yeah,
better.
like you can put enough things on a piece of paper to do in an hour to where somebody's going to feel dead
Oh,
afterwards.
yeah.
But what's the result? Like what do we get out of that other than
What
just
is the
feeling dead
what is the
afterwards?
why?
Right. So coaching, and I think you embody this with the stuff that you try and do on a day-to-day basis is it's the little things, it's paying attention to the small stuff, but then it's also driving with purpose and then also connecting to the
Oh,
athletes,
yeah.
right? It's about a connection to where these athletes understand the information that is coming out. The athletes start to go, oh, wait, where's my aha moment? Where's my light bulb? Where's my thing that it goes, oh, this all clicks? And sure, some days aren't going to be
Oh, yeah.
just about running and running and running and running. And don't get me wrong, there's some days that we do that inside of here, right?
Yeah.
Like there's points and times where it's like, listen, this is what we need to get done today. But, if you're just looking for training, we're never going to be the right fit for you. Like, and I sell that to all of our
Oh,
families, all of our people, right? Like it is a much more in-depth program. And I think you do a really good job with that, not only at Parisi, but also in the lesson space. Again, speaks back to the authenticity of your approach to the things and how you go about doing it. And just like again your day-to-day actions towards the programming and the stuff that you do. So I commend you on that because I've seen that grow. I've seen that developed over the last year and a half of really taking it seriously and buying into it. But then that also spills over into our staff, and the things that we do here, and just all of the things from a coaching aspect. And I think that's why your book of business is growing the way that it does, is because other people, they navigate towards that, they gravitate towards that. Because you're offering something that isn't as simple as just, hey, we're going to do this today, right? Like, and kids respond to that, athletes respond to that, and that kind of thing. But where are we at on time, Dave? I don't even know when we started this.
Oh man, we're at an hour 23.
yikes.
Okay,
I
so
can
yeah.
talk, or
No,
can
you're
I?
good, you're
Man.
good.
Well,
Wow.
I mean, there's a lot to unpack. There's your life experiences and those kind of things, and people getting to know you. At the end of the day, you're looking at Sean Cutler, program director,
Uh,
Breezy Speed School,
Tasmanian
Is that
devil.
and
Banks?
Yeah.
sounds like Banks is here, and so on and so forth. So I guess I don't know. Do we want to wrap up or take a
Gotta have a good finisher here.
yeah?
I mean, I think as far as, how you want to, kind of leave it for people to kind of look into, some of the stuff that you're offering, the things that, you want people to know. So I'm going to get them.
Hold on, I got it.
Yeah.
Just what is the, kind of the things to look forward to, when you're offering this service in the program, right? Like, what are the things that, you want to show that, say, what's up, Bubba? You can come over here. Okay.
What's warming up some
He's
meat and rice?
hungry. Yeah. Like just what are, those things that, okay. Those things that you want to leave people with, right? Like what can they expect? Actually, that might be the better way of saying
Okay.
that, right? Like what can they expect when they come in to work with you? The type of person that you are, like giving them kind of a short understanding of who it is, right? Like when somebody asks me like my culture that I bring, the way that I operate, the things that I do, like it's very simple for me to explain that to someone because like especially when I'm coaching, it's like, dude, I'm about one thing, and that thing is getting you the results that you're searching for, right?
Mhm.
By any means necessary. Figuring out what that path looks like. How do we plan that? How do I put a system in place to do it, right? Like that's the way my brain operates. That's the way that I just do all the things that I do, right? So for a parent or somebody that's looking at you, right, as the program director of this, and coach of, the things that we are offering here, like what is your thing that, the way that you're gonna approach it?
I would say the number one thing I will focus on with your kid is serving them. And by serving in what we talked about earlier, I want to leave my personal whatever out the door and I want to serve your kid and make them better at whatever it is. It could be one thing. If it's one thing that we do right that day, that's a successful day because we're always that you don't come in here to compete against other people, you come in here to compete against yourself from yesterday. Right, and that's the same thing I hold as a coach, right? I want you to come in here and get a little bit better every day, right? And I wanna be a positive impact on your life. Like, I'm not here to drill you and kill you and destroy you and then have you leave, dead, right? I want to make I want this can be an escape for you, whether it is a lesson, whether it is a Parisi class. You can come in here, you can move around, get the blood flowing, get the central nervous system fired up, and you have a good time. Like it's not all about yes, we want results, but it's about what kind of relationship can I build with you and your parents. And I got a short memory. It's like if you piss me off the other day, that's fine. That's in the past. I'm not trying to be automatically pissed off at you again. It's just like I'm here. I'm ready to work every single day and get your kid better than they were yesterday.
I love that. That's Sean Cutler, Mr. Authentic is gonna be what we're gonna start calling him around here. I think that, it speaks volumes to your character, your journey, all of the stuff that you went through to kind of lead you up to this point in time. And then you trying to implement that into the next generation and working with them and, using those experiences, good and bad, to be able to try and run a program that's going to positively impact, everybody that we have in this community, a new community for you, but one that's kind of taken you in and been a part of, your journey in that aspect. So I think it's great, man. I appreciate everything you do. I appreciate your work. I appreciate, all the stuff that you pour into our things, and I think you have a lot of families and a lot of success stories that, that are already working. And I think there's a lot more, to be done in the near future as well.
I
So
think so. It's gonna be continue to be a lot of fun. And I know we're gonna get real busy here. So, one thing I just want to say before we kind of close it out here, if any athlete comes across this, doesn't matter what sport you play, if you're just a kid, if you're an adult, college kid, high school kid, parent, whatever it might be, just want to say that something that would have been really awesome for me to have in college and high school when I really struggled with my staying mentally just strong, not letting things break me as much, would have been getting connected with your faith and with God. Because if you do not have that peace, things spiral down really quickly, especially in a sport like baseball. So that's just it's what I wanted to say is like if I always think about that, if I'm not saying I would have played any better, it's just it would have been a lot more enjoyable if I knew that baseball wasn't as important as my relationship with Christ is. So I'm gonna put that out there before we're done here, and then
Well, well, as we close it out again, thank you, Sean, for
Yeah.
your for the I mean, letting us get to know you, and Sheldon, thanks for taking the reins on that and all that good stuff. As we did yesterday, we will revert back to Sean for a prayer,
closing prayer.
our
Like,
closing prayer,
like
and
it.
ready when you are.
Yeah. Lord, just thank you again for this day. We never can be grateful enough for the grace you give us each and every day, waking up, and the mercy you have on us each and every day, letting us do what we love. And just pray that as people listen to this, they take away, the key parts. Build a relationship with you, build a relationship with people, and have and serve others. And if that's what they take away, that's what they take away. And I just let your name be glorified. Thank you for these two. In your name we pray, Lord Jesus. Amen.
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 See you next time.
Yep. Thanks for joining us on Kansas Sports HQ.